see if this works. Hello, chat. Yeah, I know we're running a little late. Let me know if the crackling comes back. I don't know how to fix it. So I've done like everything you can fix. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. Can you guys hear me? Like, can I get some feedback on that? Are we cracking? That's kind of the big thing right now. Like, I've been resetting and reconnecting or anything. Can you guys hear me? Please acknowledge. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. So, you guys, welcome. It's Thursday night. So finally sounds good. I took everything apart and put it all back together. But yeah, guys, welcome to Thursday night. If you guys are new, you've been watching the Ashley Benefield trial. This is the Thursday night stream. We talk about quite a bit. Normally it's 9:30, but I had to get everything punched back in. Let's see here. What are you guys saying? And real quick, we have Adam Wathan. It's a new member. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. And if you guys are new, we try to give a couple minutes to let people get in here. Because YouTube is not the best at notifying people, but also everybody's out and about doing stuff. And I think it's only fair to give a couple of minutes before we get started. We are live tonight over on Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. No longer Twitter, because Twitter makes you do you have to do like the premium accounts. And I'm like, I don't get enough engagement to pay for the thing. I think that's kind of ridiculous. So Brittany's saying, why don't I ever get the notification? I don't know why. YouTube doesn't always do it. If you are getting notifications through Twitch, Twitch is like the one thing that's always on point. And that's 2.0 doing a research. And it actually appears to be true. Is the body cam released yet? Yes. Well, actually, you guys weren't on. I just watched it all. Yeah, Noel and I watched and then we deleted it. So you guys missed it. Nico saying, make sure your subscribe bell is set to all solid white. That doesn't matter. YouTube still doesn't properly notify. I mean, it's to the point where I think a lot of people do have grounds to say YouTube is picking and choosing what they do. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah. And Trump's body cam got released today. I did not see that. That should be interesting. Yes, you have to subscribe to Locals for full body cam access. Oh. Cedar Rose has been a member for 11 months. Step aside, Grays. This is a green town. Yes, it is. Keep walking, Grays. So let's talk about a couple different things here. I also wanted to say hello to everybody out there. Jeez, earlier today kind of threw me off kilter. Anyways, everybody over on Locals, if you guys are new, it's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Locals is everything Patreon should be and was supposed to be. Except they actually uphold their principles and they don't get mad at you doing things. So over there, you guys could join, cost you nothing. You can post on the wall, talk about things that other people post. But if you wish to support me, you can do so for $3 a month. Pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. With that, you get access to live shows. Do a live show every Monday night, and we do a live show every Thursday night. So after this show, we go hang out for quite a while. You know, talk about all things we could talk about here. I mean, for example, like a body cam where a gun's being used because YouTube doesn't like that. We can watch that there. We can talk about things YouTube doesn't like. And we can also talk about all kinds of stuff that doesn't really fit into the topic of what we're doing tonight. So, and that's over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. You can use the promo code BoogerSugar and you get 1 month free access. So, and I forgot to mention, we do have a live chat that goes while we are watching. Well, you guys can watch along and do a live chat. And we also do a bunch of other stuff that happens normally when Mr. Medicare does a stream. We kind of hang out and watch it together, watch Formula One races, things like that. And that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Hope to see you there. Hope to see you there. Locals was a mistake. Just trying to operate as another place to work. I think it's got potential. It could keep working. It's just they need to keep doing more stuff. And I think Locals and Rumble working together, it sounded like that was going to be a good idea, but it's just not working. It's just not working. So we are Abel saying if you ever get called on jury duty, I'll say you've been watching. I've been jury YouTube certified because you watch my trials. I mean, do you want to go home? Because I'm not going to lie, I might be like, if I'm sitting there doing voir dire and somebody's like, "Oh, I watch a lot of trials on YouTube," I'm probably I'm depending on what you say after that and kind of getting your feel for things. It's very easy for me to go, nope, on my jury thing, my jury form. So, it very much depends. But I think a lot of people are just gonna cross you off their box. So I'm not sure I would do that. Big Chunga says, I thought the point of jury duty is getting caught, tried to go home. I know that's a bit of a joke there, but no, you should want to be on a jury. You're going to be the person there. You might be that person who changes everybody's minds, or at the very least, you're that one holdout that keeps somebody from getting screwed. So I always think you should be on a jury because ultimately you would want yourself on a jury. You think you're reasonable and prudent, and if you were ever facing a jury, you'd want 12 of you on there. And that would be fair. Well, if nobody shows up and everybody tries to get out of it, then you're left with all the idiots. So don't do that. Yes, after all the bad jury decisions, I want to be on a jury. Well, that's another motivator too. Another big motivator. So my first question should be, does anybody here know about the Kiwi Farms? Well, no, I would not recommend doing that either. I would not recommend doing that either. Sarah Boone thinks she's reasonable and prudent. I know, but the odds are generally that most of us aren't. And why is Rumble not working here? Hold on, chat. We set it up. Or is it just there's nobody over there? Oh, yeah, it's running. Here we go. There we go. Okay, it is on. Nobody's just talking. That's fine. That's fine. All right, guys, it's been about 10 minutes. We'll get started. First thing, I guess, and it's the story that's shaken YouTube. No, not Boogie being a scumbag and a liar, and no, not Mr. Beast apparently harboring pedos in his organization. No, this is actually going to be April Imholte, or as I love how Worski and PPP do it. Imholte. It's a very Latin charm to it. The Imholtes. The Imholtes. April was indicted, and she wasn't indicted. I keep saying that, and that's because I'm stuck in being an attorney out here. But she was charged with a felony. I'm sure if I say that, somebody's gonna be like, "Well, Emily." I'm sure we'll hear about that. But April was charged with felony cocaine possession. You guys were not aware. Ultimately, it's not really Sharker. That was weird. Ultimately, it wasn't a shocker. At some point, this was going to happen. I didn't see her walking away from this at the end of the day, but she is able to, at least for her sake, she's looking already a lot better than Nick and Kayla ever were. And the good thing for her is that means there's a lot of wiggle room. So what is she facing? She's facing 5th degree possession of a Schedule 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5 years in prison, or a $10,000 fine, or both. She's not going to get the $10,000 fine. She's not going to get 5 years in prison, chat. So don't worry about that. She might get, probation out of this, but we'll see how things go. But this goes back to May 23rd. And some of you might say, well, that's a long time. In the context of a criminal setting, it's not, and it's well within the statute of limitations. So no big deal there. She possessed more than 0.25 grams of cocaine, so more than a quarter gram, which I don't know which parts of it they're claiming she possessed specifically, because this is a lot of, and if you guys read this, and if you guys are ever trying to figure out how to get it, if you go on the case record lookup and you type in this is what you look for. This is a lot of the same thing that we've already seen. So the biggest thing is, and this is all the stuff near the nightstand, the tube with coke in it, the black vial with 2.2 grams, the 2 credit cards. And I'm sure those credit cards were all crusted up with cocaine on them. I'm not like it's a mud flap in the middle of February, but I'm sure there was cocaine residue on those. But what else is there? I think it's probably all this stuff, because it's all right there. It's very much her credit cards are sitting right there. Like, how did your credit cards get there, April? She's good. What's the answer for that? Well, the obvious answer, using common sense and experience and what a reasonable and prudent person would think, is she used them. Now, I understand she might try the Nick Rekieta school of, well, maybe somebody stole my credit cards, or any number of ways that they have to prove they're hers or something. I'm not sure what Nick's going to try to argue. Not a lot she could do, because these are things with her name on it. It's kind of like Bart when he threw the radio down the well. It's like property of Bart Simpson on the bottom. There's only so much you can do here. There's only so much you can do. And yes, as Stacy says, did they have razor blades? I thought about that before, but yeah, they're using credit cards. Like, they're not even using playing cards. And I'm sure they had playing cards in that house, but yeah, using a credit card instead of some bicycles. I mean, with the playing cards, you've got that like plasticky finish on them, so you can clean them off a little. Well, you're not cleaning them off; you're probably licking them clean. But yeah, they would be far more efficient than using your Amex, and I don't know if April has Amex, but whatever she's using. So all this other stuff, though, the gun's clearly not hers. That's not a problem. Some of the stuff that's in the dresser, I don't know what they're attributing to her there, but I think it's all this stuff right here. This is probably how they're getting her. The big safe find with the 20-some grams of coke, I don't think they're going to be trying to slap her up with that. I think this is probably all the stuff that's hers, because remember, Nick decided to say, that's my bedroom and my wife and I stay there. It's like, well, good idea. Good idea. Sell your wife out and run her under the bus. Didn't really work, because your hoe got indicted. So I know he's going to be like, what hoe? I don't know what a hoe is. Who's what? I don't know. Or as Nick says, the fun police, which, he calls them the activity police, which, I mean, you can call your future probation officers that, but they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it. They're not going to be funny. But yeah, all this other stuff, guys, same stuff we found before, the 18 point, almost 19 grams, the 5.5 grams, all the ketamine, or the reketamine. I think that's better. And yeah, all this other stuff here. And that's the other thing too. Her purse was located in the hallway inside the master bedroom. So they've got quite a bit there. It's not circumstantial. I mean, she's in the house. It's all right there. It's not, and by that I mean, it's not like super tenuous, like, oh, how can they prove it? This is pretty good. This is pretty good. It's the same reason why when cops come into a house, they do drug raids. They take pictures of the mail that's sitting there, because usually people are dumb and their name is on all the mail that's sitting there, and it's going to be hard for them to say, "Well, I don't live here." All your fucking mail's coming here. So, just something. We'll move on from there, but I'm sure the cope will be interesting going forward. Brad said Nick is telling him that the 2.2 gram vial is hers, so that his amount is under the 25 grams. See, Brad, here's the issue. It generally doesn't work that way, because you're kind of all possessing it together. I mean, April would have to cop up. I mean, even then, the idea April just had her own coke. I don't buy it. I don't buy it, because she's gonna have to say, where'd you get it from? She can't be like, well, I went to Costco and bought my cocaine. She's gonna have to be able to, because they're gonna grill her on that. Where'd you get it from? And I just don't think it's gonna work that way for Nick. I see them lowering it down anyway, at least 1 degree level, just as a try to induce an offer, or trying to induce a plea, get him to plea, put him in diversion or wherever the adjudication withheld mode is, and let him have fun with the activity police. So I don't buy it in that situation there. But Benjamin says, what was the available credit on that credit card? No, I don't think we know. Benjamin says she's falling on the sword. Well, she can try, but it's whether or not the police believe her is an issue. And even then, she's only falling on the sword part way. She can't take all the heat off Nick. So I don't know how much lowering at a felony level ultimately is a big win. But, it's Baldo logic. Arson investigator for $49.99. Thank you. Says, I survived back-to-back depositions, so I'm hooking my favorite blogger up with some of that expert testimony money. Geez, back-to-back. I'm busy, man. Depositions are intense. Sometimes they're more intense than going to trial. You're in like a little enclosed room. Usually there's not windows. So yeah, it can be a lot more intense. Torgo the White. Thank you, by the way, Arson. Thank you, by the way. Torgo the White says for $2, are you going to cover the FRT win in Texas? I was going to work on that tomorrow, because that is actually a very big win. That's a very, very big win. I'm actually surprised. Of the things there, the FRT is a lot closer to a machine gun than a bump stock is. But I'm happy with it. I'm surprised that it worked out that way. Gary Meyer says, I resemble that remark. I leave my bills weighing around hoping the cops will pay him. Oh. The vial's known as travel blow. Yeah, but it sounds like, based on what Aaron said, Nick carries the big lockbox. They call it a safe, but I want to see the pictures, because it sounds like it's just a big lockbox. Kind of like one of those bigger stack on, it looks almost like something out of a safe deposit box. Those types of things. I don't think he was, just look at Nick. I don't see him carrying around like a fucking hotel safe everywhere he goes. There's no way he could support that in his arms. John says, is the sword a euphemism for a baldo? What sword? No, no, maybe. I don't know. And then EDW Raptor says, well, it's Psalm 14:1. God says I can blame my side piece for the cocaine. Yes, that's remember. That's what the book of Luke is all about. Just what I do, I won't. Thus saith the Lord. Let's see here. What do you guys catch it? Oh, the falling on the sword comment. Oh, I'm sure she's had to ball. Well, she's fallen on the Baldo a couple of times. I mean, I don't see that not happening. Luke says, yeah, I wrote that. You can quote me. Eric Rodriguez says, did you see Gavin Newsom's banning homeless camps? I mean, he could ban them, but where are they going to go? It's like, yes, we're going to end homelessness by making it illegal. That's on the same level as smooth brained. You know, you call it smooth brain, but it's something a 5-year-old would say. Well, why don't we put them all in houses? That way they're not homeless anymore. Well, we just made it illegal to be homeless. Ta-da! Problem solved. So I don't know, but I hadn't looked into that. But that makes sense, especially after Grants passed. The Grants Pass case came from the Supreme Court, and they said you can ban basically urban camping. So let's keep moving, chat. We got a lot to do. We've got a lot to do. And we have some updates. So Sarah Boone, we covered this at the beginning of the week. But America's sweetheart, Sarah Boone, has been a busy little beaver. Has been a very, very busy little beaver. No pun intended there. So if you guys were not aware, Sarah Boone put out an advertisement, and I think it's very hilarious. And we are going to get right into this because this was just... so there was a letter that she wrote. We covered it on Monday. Somebody showed it to me on Locals. It was too good. I could not read it. But here it is from Sarah Boone. And this is just... You're going to love this, chat, if you haven't seen it yet. I know a couple people already covered it. I did not get the chance to get to it yet. So she's very upset she has not received the discovery yet. And she has been yelling and complaining about things. But ultimately, as she says here... Wait, where did the... Where is... Hold on. Oh, here, I missed it. Sorry. Wrong date, chat. Wrong date, chat. Sorry. We already covered that one. So this is... She asked that the judge would put this up somewhere attorneys might find it. And she starts off with, inmate seeks attorney. Yes, she has 5 motions coming, by the way. Yes, 5 motions coming. Yes. Oh, yeah. And she did a whole hearing with the judge where she got all snippy and snitty. So the inmate seeks an attorney. It's almost like something you'd see written in a children's novel. Like on the back page of the art. Looking for a prosperous challenge. Well, I mean, no weapon raised against me shall prosper. Ready for your close-up on national television? Are you? I don't know. Are you zealous with a side of keen? You know, Chad, I think she's gotten a hold of that thesaurus. That I think is taken care of. She has gotten her thesaurus. She has gotten her thesaurus. Yes. This is very much out of a high school yearbook. You know, show the world. It's like you got to say it like Jeremy Clarkson. The world, you know. The fastest car in the world. With who you are. With your original creativity. As opposed to derivative creativity. Extraordinary expertise. As opposed to mediocre expertise. And confident ingenuity. I mean, a lot of ingenuity is kind of based on the idea like, yeah, I guess it'll work. I mean, that's how ghetto rigging works. You're never like, oh, yeah, it's 100% fine. You're just like, it's good enough for who it's for. It's going to work? Like, probably. It should. Yeah, just yeah. She's using her big words. Qualifications must include being trustworthy, honest, passion-driven, open-minded, exceptional problem-solving skills. Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Better than so-so problem-solving skills. Client inclusion at all times, team orientation, and collaboration. I hate that word. Collaboration. Yes, Sarah wants you to help the Nazis find all the Jews. She wants you to be a collaborator. Extreme efficiency in listening. Listening is not like a quarterback rating. You don't have an efficiency rating. Communicating and understanding. I don't know how you can efficiently understand an issue, but okay, I'll leave it to her. Dedication to success. Possessing a winning mindset. This sounds like something a football coach has over his door. Capability of excellence and representation. Committed. It's like saying, at the word, you're just like unbraided. Maintaining faith in the client and case with the ability to think differently. And you have to overcome all circumstances. There's a lot of circumstances that we aren't overcoming, Sarah. And one of them is the video you took. But anyways, as she ends, epic opportunity awaits. Oh, and then Sarah Boone with her inmate number, the Orange County Corrections Department. She says, invest in the oppressed. Believe. I mean, she must be a Halo fan. But invest in the oppressed. She must have seen that on some sort of BIPOC poster somewhere. It's like, I don't know if anybody's going to invest, Sarah. Sarah Coin is not a good bet, chat. We're not buying Sarah Coin. It's not going to the moon. Now, what did she say here? Now, her letter she wrote is some of the nastiest shit I think you could do to a judge. And it's so stupid. It is so stupid what she's doing here. It is so stupid. What's the ROI on Sarah Coin, on Boone Coin? I don't know. How many Boone coins can you exchange to buy luggage? I don't know. Yes, Clyde Coin is to the moon. Yes. Off der Mond. To the dark side of the moon, chat. Yes. Oh, they're going to come. Oh, yeah. Yes. Young says, picture her coloring this letter in is endearing. Yes, I'm sure she's laying on the floor of her cell, just scribbling away. All right, so here we go. This was very interesting for Sarah. So, to the honorable, and notice she put honorable in quotes. We've already got problems here. Anyways, the preambles that said, Judge Kranick, where's my discovery? I'm still waiting for you to provide me with the contents of what former attorney Cashman supplied to you in the court at the surprise status hearing held in secret on 6/28/24 at 1:30 p.m. Your designated clock of unfair judgment ticks empty and incessantly. I don't know how a clock can tick empty. She's trying. I'll give her. We're reading too fast. We're gonna keep going. While waiting for you to deliver, as usual, it's in your favor. In your nonchalant, relaxed, unconcerned attitude of me to receive, you are robbing me of precious life-saving time to fully and properly defend myself. On top of my already and still being violated constitutional rights and being forced to represent myself based on false information. No, you kept on pissing off all your attorneys, Sarah. Yes, that's the other. Well, the margins thing, chat. I don't know. This drives me crazy. This is like the guardrail on the road. You can't drive past it. Apparently, Sarah thinks she can, which probably why she's crazy. She says, I don't even know what is contained in the said discovery after being withheld from seeing all to date. And for the first time in said surprise status hearing, along with my supposed digital evidence being produced by Cashman finally after never being shown any of it during her representation, quote unquote. Her response to me when we would ask to review was, your first attorney said he reviewed it with you. That was over 4 years ago. Okay, but that still doesn't change the point. You're my attorney now, and no, I did not see it. This is not what I had to deal. This is what I had to deal with. I have not seen its entirety and completely to date. Okay. She says, please note, I do not have access to a computer. That got changed today. She has access to a laptop that's basically been air-gapped. To review these materials, I am doing my very best to figure this and everything else out as I go to my newly unwarranted, forced position of pro se. And the way she spells forced, Vince is out there going, yes. Please do not penalize me even greater than being already. I'm trying. Ooh, woo. Puppy dog eyes. Please know also I am in an open bay dorm living with 63 other inmates. I need to figure out how to view anything securely to avoid further exploitation and mean ignorance. There is no privacy or individual access in jail. That's true. If she's in a pod like that. That says Cashman. That means her previous attorney. I'm glad I can help you shine in the courtroom in front of the judge by you professionally and finally bringing everything I've been asking for since day one. And after I included you on my letter to the judge ensuring return, unlike you who did not include me on your motion to withdraw, surprise! And I had to find out from someone else, an officer. She says 3 days before this surprise, she's just so happy. Yay! Status hearing. So you would even know what to bring. Why didn't you bring to any of your 20 hours of meetings with me? As always, it's in everyone else's favor but mine. I know, Sarah. Everybody's out to get you. So how much real time will I have to prepare properly, especially for the fact you have me doing everything while incarcerated? Well, yeah, that's an issue. That's generally why you rely on attorneys, Sarah. And they're probably telling you your case is a bust. Don't bother. We need to do something else. What happens when more time must be utilized to discover where my lost discovery is? I've been asking for repeatedly. She says for depositions, to locate my witnesses, contact anyone via collect phone calls. That's a real hurdle. Yeah, it is. Wait to receive transcripts, any records, everything I need to finally build my defense. Or is your plan, Your Honor, just to leave me out to dry and in a hurricane? Now you understand why, this is not. You're sounding like a big asshole, Sarah. So I guess good job. Good job, Sarah. I guess that whole name of you, Sarah Plain and Tall, I guess you are very plain in your mind. You are just raking yourself right now in front of this judge. Your time constraints are extreme and unreasonable. Your decision you claim to have considered from your order is illogical and unfair. This is not how you sweet talk a judge. Specifically, that it has been malformed by your ignorance, inexperience of my case, misinterpretations, and straight lies from the attorneys appointed. Yes, everybody's a liar but me, Judge, and you're too stupid to understand it. Oh God. Good job, Sarah. Good job. They are brazen to stand at your pulpit in your courtroom and commit perjury to your face and the world. But yet, it's me. Haha, it's just me, Sarah. It is my belief that from your order that actions speak louder than words. The court is sabotaging me, forcing me. Just, gonna make it take it. Pressuring me, setting me up for failure. No, I'm pretty sure that's kind of like your MO. I'm just saying, Sarah. Oh. If any of the prior attorneys would have included, cared, collaborated during their time of representation, you not being brainwashed and partial from believing everything over me and implementing your intricately misconstrued unfair order formatted, I would not be writing yet another letter, would I? It's a very Reddit way to phrase it. I'm surprised she didn't be like, you should Google it. In the meantime, while your clock ticks ceaselessly and loud as I wait for you to deliver anything, even more fingers are noticed. They really do point back. Unless you're hand knifing, then they don't. And I am defending myself against your inaccurate, libelous, I can write letters to order. Please, would you post my included document in your break room? I think it's funny. She thinks this is like, it's like a teacher's lounge where all the judges hang out. No, their offices, their chambers where they hang out. They don't have like a lunchroom. Wherever you think it may be seen and understood, unlike me in your courtroom. Yeah, once again, another fuck you to the judge. How about by the copy machine, where your JAs, judicial assistants, should have made me, the news crews, court TV, professional YouTubers chat. She be talking about us. And photographers, the world, a copy of the notice hearing where all aforementioned improprieties occurred, and then some, including the drop-off of my case materials, said order being ordered, and me being pulled by my uniform to exit your courtroom while still trying to speak and defend myself against all the mayhem and chaos, especially the surprise of being there unprepared and without notice. She says, oh, wait, my posting everything supposedly is public record. Yes. And there is no notice at all. Correct. Another, it's in your favor moment. It's a group effort. Saboteurs. Yes. Schnetzspionen. Death to spies, says Sarah. So what does she include? Well, she has a little bit more down here. She says, surprise. He says, she pulls a Douglas MacArthur. General MacArthur, I shall return. I guess. Nothing is impossible. And once again, Halo 3 motto, believe. Hopeful, grateful, waiting. Thank you for your posting. Yes. After you shit all over him, thank you for your time. Sarah Boone. And she says, remember, please, Judge Kranick, fair, neutral, impartial. You must be. Always. And as she says in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm reminded of Proverbs 9:13. Folly is an unruly woman. She is simple and knows nothing. So there's a lot of other parts of the Bible you should be reading, Sarah. Oh, okay. So now we did learn there were some other orders today. She was in court, and it was like 20 minutes long. So we're not going to be able to watch it today, guys. But there were some things that happened. So she was there today along with the guy who's her private investigator. And he runs prison break investigations, which that's a pretty clever name for your private investigating group. So they're being done by the investigation services, their PI work, in charge of that. Now, what's going to happen? The guy who runs at Prison Break, Billy Lane, is going to take possession of all the discovery that was provided by the court. And from there, through Billy Lane, he is going to copy all of these onto as many jump drives as necessary. So hopefully he's got access to a high-speed scanner where they could just scan it all in, because the Justice Administration Commission of Florida, so the Public Defender Fund, is going to pay him for this. And what they're going to do is they're going to take all that electronic documentation, then upload it to an air-gapped computer, and that's going to be Sarah Boone's way of working on things. So I thought it was a little interesting. They'll have to appear August 5th with this all done. Now, that's fine. But this is something, if you guys are thinking about it, well, that's like 2 weeks away. This is more and more time Sarah Boone doesn't get access to her discovery. And I agree with Luke. The pretrial motions deadline before you even get your discovery sounds like a fundamental fairness issue. It does. Just importantly, they're eating up. This has been like a month for her to get her discovery sorted out. And the timeline for the trial hasn't moved. Now, a lot of times when you pull time or do something that stops the clock, that's against you. But in this situation, they just didn't give her boxes of shit. They could have brought him over, but they didn't. They're going to say, oh, it's a security risk. Well, the idea that he's not going to give her more time, I think, is a very big problem. I think eventually, because even if she starts working on, I guarantee you it's thousands and thousands of pages at this point of stuff. I think that's a big issue for her, and I think the judge is going to have to reconsider. Luke says the question here is whether her asking is enough to preserve the issue of the continuance. I don't know. I don't know if it was. I listened to it, and that's part of the problem when you're not an attorney. I think she tried to be too cute with it instead of just saying, and here's the thing, guys. If you're ever in court and you show up for like an initial appearance or whatever, don't try to think about how you need to say things sexily or within the law. Just say what you need. Like, tell Your Honor, I want to do this thing. I want to do X. And the judge is like, okay, well, yeah, we'll get you an attorney. Or she wants a continuance. Or part of her question was, Your Honor, if we waste all this time on this, is that going to eat into my ability to prepare and not push the trial date back? Now, she said it in such a convoluted way, the judge is like, I don't understand what you're getting at, for over 5 minutes. When she should have just said, here's what's going on, bro. And he could have been like, yeah, no, you're screwed. He didn't do that. So that's why I would recommend just be straight with what you're trying to do. Be straight with what you're trying to do. Yeah, she did pretty directly ask. Well, she did. She asked if they would be pushed back, but she didn't. I don't think she preserved the argument because she didn't say, well, Your Honor, I object. Remember, she's held to the same standard as a lawyer. Just asking, Your Honor, are we going to push the dates back? No. Okay. I mean, even if I ask that, that's not asserting a motion to continue. Yeah, she said, do I get my time prorated? Yeah, that's what she was asking. Is my time prorated? Which doesn't make any sense. Remember, just say what you need to say. Don't try to church it up. She won't have a box for it all in the thumb drives. Yeah, that's going to be your issue. There's going to be nowhere to hide. So that is the interesting part, what's going on with Sarah here, guys, if you were wondering. So she will be back in court August 5th, and she's supposed to have everything ready to go. She'll have like 2 months to prepare, which I don't know. We'll see if that's going to be enough for her. Maybe she will. Maybe she will. So, oh. Dogs are going crazy. 2.0 is home. All right. Moving on from there, and good luck to Sarah. Good luck to Sarah. In New York City, this one, initially, when I started to read this, initially it struck me as the prosecution messed up. Hold on, chat. So I read this and I was starting to think this had to be a mess up by the district attorney's office. But no. This is accurate. A guy who was a suspect in the stabbing of a bus driver walked free because the grand jury didn't indict him in time. So what happened? So he's accused of stabbing a bus driver to death in broad daylight last month. He was charged with attempted murder because the grand jury didn't indict him in time. So this guy here, Malachi Houston's accused of doing it. And he stabbed him in Brownsville. That's in Brooklyn. Because the grand jury didn't indict him within a 6-day time frame, which it sounds like they presented it and the grand jury had 6 days to do something about it. But then it turns into, did they get told they had 6 days? Did the prosecutor lean on them, say, hey guys, did you check on this one? Did this one get done? What happened? That's not clear, but remember, the easiest way to shuffle blame off is onto the nameless, faceless grand jury, because here's the neat thing. No one's ever going to know who was on that grand jury. So the prosecutor can blame them, the cops can blame them and say, well, it wasn't our fault. And that's why I'm a little sus about this. But it's interesting to see how they're trying to play this off. So they said that, the grand jury may be presented with additional information. So, and they talk about multiple witnesses said Houston and the driver got into a scuffle where she stabbed the shit out of the guy. And this is the bus where it happened. And this is part of the crime scene here. Like the guys, look, people were wearing masks. That's good. That's safe. The mask protected them. The mask kept them from dying of COVID. So good news. Good news. I just thought it was very, very, very interesting there how this all worked out. It's just something to think about when you get to this. And when people talk about the without rule of law phase, and this is where you start seeing breakdowns. And is it breakdowns in the prosecution? Is it breakdowns by the grand jury? But we're starting to see these. So it's just something to think about. Something, when I saw this immediately, that's what struck my mind. They're making New York City look like Pennsylvania. The prosecutor failed to follow up the next weekly meeting. Like, I could see that. I can definitely see that. Is there normally a time limit for grand juries? Well, it depends on states. It sounds like in New York there was a time limit. In Ohio, I don't think there's specifically a timeline, but a grand jury can't just sits there for days and days on end. I guess that would happen. But there's not a specific, if it takes them more than so many days to indict, case dismissed. It just turns into a statute of limitations issue. So not every state. This sounds like this is a New York thing. Yes, that's the other point. Yes, because he's not Trump, they didn't want to indict him. Yes, I think that's very true. Yes, but they'll extend the statute of limitations to go after Trump. They do. Yes, and that's the shitty part about it all. So, like I said, guys, something to think about. I think is very interesting on how it's playing out. And Quick says, going back to Sarah Boone, saying, "And the Lord saith unto them, that's not true." So says the book of Ralph. Sarah Boone's prison hooch for $2 says, please represent me pro hoc. Oh, that'd be funny to see that at some point somebody just has like a Freudian slip while they're typing. John Coleman for $2 says, get Sarah trifold. I know, she needs Chili's help now, chat. And then Phoenix has been a member for 1 month. Thank you, Phoenix. Moving on from there, guys, Karen Reed, we covered this earlier this week. Karen Reed had her pretrial. It turned out to only be about 10 minutes long. So what do we learn? Her trial is being set, and she is going to be retried, according to the state now, in January, at the end of January of 2025. And then coming up in August on the 9th, and I think that the 9th is a Friday here. Yes, it's a Friday. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, they are going to have the hearing on the motion to dismiss. And the motion to dismiss is going to center on what's going on there. We're also going to deal with the issues of the jurors at that hearing. So remember, guys, a bunch of these jurors have said, wait, we actually did agree on not guilties for like count 1 and count 3. It was just the manslaughter where we were disagreeing. But even then, it sounds like it was very heavily to not guilty. So we're going to have that hearing to decide what's going to happen. And I think ultimately Judge Cannone is going to do whatever the hell she wants. Other news that's going on, I thought this was very interesting and should be really a shocker. If you guys remember, Troopa Procta is currently suspended without pay, and I think it'd probably be what they would consider terminal leave. They're getting ready to just snip, and cut the grass at the MSP. Well, 2 other state troopers who were part of the Karen Reed case are now under investigation, and that includes the Proctor's lieutenant and the brave Sergeant Bukaki. They are both being investigated. So, yeah, it's not just Trooper Proctor who might be gone for the Karen Reed trial, but you're going to lose Lieutenant Tully and Sergeant Bukaki. So you're losing like your major detectives on this case. It's one thing you might be able to play with and get around one of them being gone, but if you lose all 3 of them, whoa, have fun trying to bullshit a jury there. Have fun trying to bullshit a jury. That I don't see how that works. And then from here, guys, there's just more and more jurors. There's more jurors that are coming out saying, we acquitted on 2 of 3. And now they're saying we didn't know how to communicate the verdict on some of these charges to the judge. And to be fair, there's been a lot of confusion about how you do that because these were not correct. Wait, what is this? What the hell is this? Oh, geez. Okay, well, a police officer is guilty of facing felony charges for allegedly Snapchatting videos of young girls. Oh boy. That's not a good idea. Don't do that, chat. Don't do that. We'll have to read that later. So, this juror said they were not sure what to do. But they did point out that the vote was a soft 9-3 with 9 voting guilty. Now, I don't know what soft 9-3 means, but it sounds like 9 people voted guilty. But I don't know if that means a couple of them were still unsure, and it was more like, 5-4, 6, 6-6. I mean, we're not really sure what this 9 like. Is it 5 diehards of 4 maybes, or was it 5-7? We just don't know. So there's a lot going on here, and hopefully we get to the bottom of it. So what are you guys up to over here? Amon Reza says where he goes and fucks all the farm animals. Oh. So saying don't become a cop. Yeah, well, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to become a cop and then send little kids pictures. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Judge Cannoni needs to go. Yeah, I am not very impressed with her. I've not been very impressed with her at this point, but she's not going anywhere. There's not enough to get rid of her yet, and I don't think she's going to screw up that bad. So, sadly, that's what it'll be. Sadly, that's what it'll be. Now, we covered this one before, and this was a whole show. Chicago sued Glock. They sued Glock, and they sued a bunch of retailers in the area because Glock was making a gun that you could switchy. You know, you take your Glock and go run around, put your switchy on, and now you got your gun and you go burr, or as they say in the hood, they go pop 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 pop. So there's been a new lawsuit that's been refiled. And I think it's funny because they're talking about Glocks with switchies and they don't take a picture of a Glock with a switchy on it. That's so sad. This makes me sad right here. This brings me no joy. Where is your switchy? You can go click. Because all the kids love them switchies. All the kids love them switchies. They all do. I mean, what's so bad about a switchy?
Switchy. No talk. No cat. No talk.
So you gotta get your switchy out of the way there. And now we gotta move so YouTube doesn't panic. So what happened with this? Well, they went ahead and refiled their case. And guys, yeah, I'm sure that YouTube's gonna be like, you can't even talk about when we're going after the heckin' gun companies. Cosmo says the Glock 18 doesn't need a switchy, correct. And Shade Chaser says, how much evidence will the prosecution lose between now and January for Karen Reed? I bet they use the solo cups for beer pong already. Ugh, with all the blood in them. Ugh. Eric Bosnioid says, behind 30 minutes, over on Rumble saying, behind 30 minutes, but wanted to say hello since I mentioned it. Well, hello. Thank you for being here. Now, if you notice this, there is a change. There's a big change here. The biggest one of all. There have been a couple of groups added, but it's this right here. Glock, the actual Austrian manufacturer, the parent organization. They're taking the fight. They're taking fight to the Austrian horse cum traders. Aaron says, what's a switchy? Stupid question. Okay. So for Glock pistols, Glocks have a very unique setup where you can put a device on the back of a Glock pistol, like you saw those kids showing you. And if you flick the button to one side or the other, instead of shooting single shots, you now have an automatic weapon. So your Glock with a 30-round magazine, you get that stendo going in it. You can just go brrr down the street. So it's going to be very interesting. Now they're going after Daddy Glock. Too bad Gaston wasn't alive for this. Come in there and walk in the courtroom and start throwing horse cum at the city of Chicago. But they're also going after a bunch of Illinois sporting companies and shooting ranges because you sell them. It's like, okay, they're legal to sell. But this is, we've already covered this before, guys. It's 67 pages. That's the big thing. They are adding in Austria and the Austrian Glocks. The 3D printer goes brr too, yes. Stacy says, are switchies legal so far? I kind of want one, but I hate Glocks. No, chat. No. Switchies are not legal. Those kids I showed you are running around with illegal machine guns, unregistered, untaxed machine guns. Do not do what they're doing. No, don't buy a Switchy, please. Do not go and buy a Switchy. Don't buy them off Wish. I don't know where the hell people are getting them. They're not getting busted by the cops. Absolutely, they are not legal. Do not do it. Do not. Oh my gosh. Now, yes, also do not record your crimes. Yes. And they're street legal. Now there are some switches that are coming out for other guns too, but it's mainly for the Glocks. Yeah, don't get a Yankee Boogle. Don't look it up. Yeah, don't do for that either. Yes, a Wish Switchy. No, that's where they were coming in at. Seriously, Brent. The Switchies were coming in from Wish. And like a shitload of them got imported before the feds and anybody realized it. Heck, you can do a Switchy like 3D printed. You just have to put them together. So, yes, it's very interesting what's going to happen there. Just kind of a neat little update. And then inside of something which I have not seen before. Well, actually, we need to get to our first topic in the headlines. Chat. This is something you guys need to understand. And I apologize on behalf of the state of Ohio for the Supreme Court of Ohio. But apparently, boneless wings aren't boneless. In the most boomerist thing I've ever seen out of a court so far. This is just nonsense. Oh, God. This is from this is the Supreme Court of Ohio. Yes, the people in charge of licensing me, who are supposed to be smarter than me. Anyway, here we go. So it's Berkheimer. Oh, wow. Why is that showing up so weird? Berkheimer versus REKM LLC. Doing business as Wings on Brookwood et al. Decided today. Meaning it got released today. It was already decided. Oh. This is so fucking embarrassing. Oh my God. I feel so bad having to read this. So Michael Berkheimer sued a restaurant, its food supplier, and a chicken farm. Once we get to what happened here, I'm like, I don't know how it's their fault. After he suffered serious medical problems resulting from getting a chicken bone lodged in his throat while he was eating a boneless wing served by the restaurant. The trial court determined the defendants were not negligent in serving or supplying the boneless wing. And the 12th Circuit Court of Appeals, because there are 13 districts in Ohio, so there's 13 districts. I'm in the 11th. Affirm the judgment. He contends the Court of Appeals focused on the wrong question, whether the bone that injured him was natural to the boneless wing. Instead, he claims that the relevant question is whether he could have reasonably expected to find a bone in a boneless wing. And he argues the jury should be left to resolve that question. They say, we conclude the Court of Appeals got it right. In a negligence case involving an injurious substance in food, it is true, as the guy argues, that whether there is a breach of duty of care by a supplier of the food depends on whether the consumer could have reasonably expected the presence of the injurious substance in the food and could have guarded against it. But that consideration is informed by whether the injurious substance is foreign or natural to the food. The Court of Appeals correctly applied this blended analysis and determined there was no material question of fact about whether he could have reasonably expected a bone to be in the boneless wings. and thus could have guarded against it. So, yeah. So here we go. So he ordered dinner, and he ordered it from Wings, and he placed his normal order, boneless wings with Parmesan garlic sauce. Ugh. According to Berkheimer, there was no warning on the menu that the boneless wings could contain bones. That's the reason why normally people get boneless wings, because there are no bones in it. Okay, now this part here, it's like he followed his normal practice of cutting each boneless wing into 2 or 3 pieces before eating it. He testified that after he cut the second boneless wing into 3 pieces and was eating the third piece, it felt like something went down, a piece of meat went down the wrong pipe. I don't know how he didn't notice this when he was cutting it, but okay. He went to the restroom to try to clear what was whatever in his throat, but was unsuccessful. Well, it's what you really gotta hawk to when you do that. In the following days, he had a fever, and I hope it wasn't like 109-degree fever, and was unable to keep food down. Do you think Nick swallowed a chicken bone when he got sick? Maybe it wasn't cocaine all along. 3 days after eating the wings, he went to an emergency room, and they examined his throat and discovered a thin chicken bone lodged in his esophagus. It was a 5-centimeter long chicken bone. That's long. 5 centimeters in inches is, 2 inches. So, like, that's kind of long. That's kind of long. It wasn't, what do I got around here that's an inch? Well, I can't stick my dick on camera, so that's not going to work. But anyways, like the diameter of a quarter, like 2 quarters touching end to end. Like how the hell do you do that? How big are these chicken wings you can miss a 2-inch bone? Katie, I think 2 inches. Honey, 2 inches is like probably what Godzilla's got. I just don't understand how this guy cut up a chicken wing into 3 pieces. I mean, a boneless chicken wing, a chicken chunk. Like, imagine going to B-dubs and cutting one of those up into 3 pieces and finding something 2 inches long. Like, I don't understand how this happened. Part of me is just thinking he's eating fucking bones. Slipping and falling himself. Anyways, he says the bone tore his esophagus. Well, if you eat a bone too aggressively, yeah, they might poke a hole in your esophagus. A bacterial infection in his thoracic cavity, resulting in ongoing medical issues. So the cook for the company says that they make the wings from pre-butterflied, boneless, skinless chicken breast. Okay, and say when he cut a chicken breast in individual wings, he roughly makes the same cuts every time, resulting in 20 boneless 1-inch chunks. And that's the thing. If they're 1-inch chunks, how is there a 2-inch bone? I mean, really? That's the part I don't get. It's the part I don't get. Platt estimated that he touched about 90% of the boneless wings before they were served to customers. So later he filed against Gordon Food Service and the farm as well. Not Kiwi Farms, guys, but other real farmers. His complaint accused them of negligence, breach of warranty, adulterated food, misbranded food, and violations of the Ohio Deceptive Trade Practices Act. I'm not going to lie. This guy came to my office. I'm like, I don't think that's a lawsuit, buddy. Now, it sounds like in the end that's correct, but geez, like, that's the problem with being a civil lawyer. You have to take, like, it's, say what you want. Say what you want. A guy gets caught, beating someone to death. A guy gets caught with like a 0.5 terabyte of child pornography. Guy gets caught with 26 grams of coke. Those are pretty straightforward, chat. Pretty straightforward. But imagine, like, you have to, like, deal with this guy. I had a chicken bone. Like, geez, man, I'm a fat guy, and it's like, I wouldn't be able to eat a chicken bone and not notice it. Yes, this would never happen at Los Pollos Hermanos. Oh. If I'm not taking the case, they better call Barnes. Yes. So he sued the farm because well, that's what I'm worried about, Deplorable. I didn't get that far yet. Did he sue the farm because it's like, why do the chickens don't have bones when Gordon gets them? GFS gets them. Why do you put the bones in the chickens, Farmer Dan? It's like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So all the parties involved, they went for summary judgment. The 12th district reversed the trial court, concluding the trial court had lacked the facts to determine beyond a reasonable doubt they could prove no set of facts that can entitle them to relief. Remember, summary judgment motion is the fail to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. 12B6. We call it 12B6 here in Ohio as well. So after the parties continued discovery, they once again filed motion for summary judgment. And once again, the trial court granted the motions. And the court said determining that common sense dictated the presence of a bone in meat dishes, even dishes served as boneless, is a natural enough occurrence that consumers should reasonably expect it and guard against it. By doing what? Do you want them to cut every piece of chicken into like a little baby-sized bite? I mean, at what point should he not be checking? So anyway, he appealed it all up. And he said, the bone was natural to the boneless wing and would have encompassed nearly the entire third bite of the boneless wing. I don't think so. So they ended up dealing with two separate matters here. And it says whether a consumer should reasonably expect, anticipate, and guard against injurious substances that have been specifically disclaimed by the seller is a jury question. So the rest of the country does, and they want Ohio to bring in line with the rest of the country, the reasonable expectation test. So they end up pointing out, and they want courts to do what they call a blended analysis, meaning they'll use Allen, which is already on the books, and another one. And it's a blend of the foreign natural and a reasonable expectation test. So as its name suggests, the foreign natural test looks to whether the substance was foreign or natural to the food. If there was an injurious foreign substance in the food was not reasonably fit to eat, and supplier breached its duty to care. But it all depends. So like a patron eating a pot pie at a restaurant swallowed a chicken bone. That's a problem. And they talk about the presence of foods of bones which are natural to the type of the meat served. And a foreign substance or an impure or noxious condition of the food itself can be a problem. And they concluded the restaurant owner was not negligent. And they point out that it's not the job of the restaurant keeper to serve every instance of perfect chicken pie, and that all bones are entirely eliminated. If the customer has no right to expect such a perfect product, we think he is not so entitled, then it cannot be said that it was negligence on the part of the restaurant keeper to properly furnish an entirely boneless chicken pie. So if you can't expect the perfection, you're not entitled to it. Now, they cite this case from Iowa saying, small bones on a pork chop are not a foreign substance. Yeah, but I've never had a pork chop with a bone in it. Like, usually it's always just the chop. So, yeah. So they get to what their Allen test is. So they talk about it here. And they say, if a reasonable consumer would expect to encounter and thus would guard against the substance, they say if the substance is within a reasonable expectation of what might be present in the food, suppliers cannot have violated their duty of care. Okay. Then they talk about combining the two of these ultimately. And they affirm the rule. And to determine whether or not the duty of care was there, they look to whether the presence of the substance was something the consumer could have expected and could have guarded against. This is just so stupid, chat, because here's what happens. This is not and makes no sense when they get to this point. So they point out that the appellant has demonstrated no reason why a negligence case involving injurious substances should be treated differently from any other negligent case. Well, yeah, that's the same. And summary judgment is appropriate across all areas. Okay. So the Court of Appeals ultimately considered whether the bone that was in the boneless wing was foreign or natural to the food. They say because the chicken bone is natural, it's not a foreign substance. He doesn't challenge that conclusion, but he takes issue with the conclusion as to whether he could have reasonably expected a bone to be in the boneless wing. Well, see, and that's the problem here. Oh, so those are pork loin chops are boneless. Okay, thanks, Chungus. This is the problem. He's asking the court. Now, here's the issue. He's asking the court to say, okay, your rule's fine, but the conclusion doesn't work. And it's like, you're not generally going to win that way. You're not generally going to work that way. Ron, I'm saying you have pork chop with the bone. Well, no, I'm usually thinking of the loin, when the pork loin, or the pork chops when they get dressed up. But not usually, no. Not usually with the bone and pork. Yeah, pork chop would be a pig porterhouse. Yeah, but yeah, usually no. Usually not bones when you get pork chops from them. Never had a bone and chop. Not a pork chop. Not a bone and pork chop. No. Had a lot of bone and steak, but not a bone and pork chop. See, I got that law money buying pork loin where I ain't got the bone. When I was poor as shit in law school, that was still happening. So this is going to get interesting, though, here. This is where it gets stupid. So in considering where you reasonably could have expected the bone to be in the wing, the Court of Appeals took into account that the boneless wings were prepared by cutting the chicken breast into 1-inch pieces that were then fried. The chicken had not been ground down, so that way the boneless wings were analogous to a fish fillet, and everyone knows that tiny bones may remain in fish fillets. Yeah. But finding a fish bone in a fish fillet is expected. The Court of Appeals noted the size of the bone swallowed by Berkheimer, which it noted was approximately 1 3/8 inches long, is such a bone that is rather large. And this is the issue. This is one thing I do agree with. It was rather large given the description of their size, as well as his decision to cut the wing into 3 bite-sized pieces. Yes, I still wonder how he got something that big into something he cut in 1/3 of an inch roughly every time. So they are saying, though, that the bone was so large relative to the size of the food item he was eating as a matter of law, he reasonably could have guarded against it. A reasonable person could have anticipated and guarded against a large-sized bone concealed in a bite-sized piece of chicken, which I do wonder how he chewed on that and didn't find the bone. I mean, is he just like popping them in his mouth and just swallowing whole? I don't see how he couldn't have chewed on it. But he says the Court of Appeals didn't give him due consideration to the fact the food item was advertised as a boneless wing, and there was no warning given that a bone might be in the boneless wing. So they point out a supplier of food is not the insurer. And they say, now here is the bullshit part. This part I do not agree with. This part I do not agree with, chat. And we will have to fight on this. Okay. The food item is being called a boneless wing. It is common sense that the label is merely a description of the cooking style. A diner reading boneless wings on a menu would no more believe the restaurant was warning the absence of bones in the items than believe the items were made from chicken wings, just as a person eating chicken fingers would know that he had not been served fingers. The food's item is describing a cooking style. It was not a guarantee. That's not a cooking style. How is this a cooking style? Boneless wings. Well, that's a cooking style. No, there's a reason why you have boneless wings and then bone-in wings. Because you don't mind eating around the bones. But a lot of people don't, because we're lazy as Americans. So we eat chunks of chicken breasts that are battered and fried. But yes, I've never had the worry, and I've never encountered a bone inside a boneless wing that I was eating. I also chew my food, though, all the way. But I've never had that happen, so no, I would never expect it. And no, I don't think boneless wings are a cooking style. That is so stupid. Just absolutely makes no sense. Wings but it's not a cooking style. Barbecue is a style. Hold on one second. What are you saying? Yes, it's not just yeah. Yes. Exactly. So if you ordered a butterfly fillet, you got a filet mignon, it's butterflied. They don't go butterfly is a cooking style. No, you butterfly, you split it in half. You know, it's like you get a roulade. You're not going to be like, oh, roulad's a cooking style. No, a roulade is actually like the actual item at the end. These are the same people. The Supreme Court of Ohio, my betters, which justices? These people, right? I'll say this. I dare you to say something about a Columbus. These same people will call a Hot Pocket a derivation of a beef Wellington. I'm just saying. Well, actually, to be fair, not all of these people. But Justice Dieters, Chief Justice Kennedy, Justice Fisher, and Justice DeWine, yes, that related to the governor. But these three, Justice Donnelly, Stewart, and Brunner, they actually made the right decision. But yes, I can imagine the top four here going, well, this is just like a beef Wellington Hot Pocket, same thing. I can even see him turn around and go and look at it like a Pop-Tart and going, that's like a vegan Hot Pocket. There's no meat in there. This was just so stupid. I think it's such bullshit. It's such bullshit, ultimately. I just couldn't. And it's funny because they started talking shit about the dissent. And they're like, the dissent wonders what would happen in cases involving food that was advertised as lactose-free or gluten-free. And that's a very real consideration. What about that, Judge, huh? Do you have a plan there? He says, obviously such cases are not before us. But unlike the presence of the bone in this case, the presence of lactose or gluten in a food that was advertised lactose-free or gluten-free is not something a customer would customarily expect and be able to guard against. Yeah, no, I think you'd still be on the guard for that. You wouldn't just start mowing down if you could tell that there's, especially in a restaurant, like I would probably take a bite or two to see what was going to happen before you're just like, I'm going to eat it all. Like I take a bite or two to make sure it's not going to kill me. I mean, but yes, now they've made the argument, acceptable argument, like if someone has a peanut allergy and peanuts get into the food, they should have, hey, they had a life-threatening allergy. You should protect against it. So this is just, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. This is stupid. They say the result in this case is in the dissent. A nail in the coffin of the American jury system. Oh, well, I don't know about that, but yeah. Yeah, this whole thing was just garbage. So this is embarrassing to me, chat. This is very embarrassing. I apologize on behalf of the state of Ohio. I really do. This dude thinks he's eating a canine when he's eating hot dogs. Yes. Big Chungus says all beef Wellingtons are Hot Pockets, but not all Hot Pockets are Wellingtons. I understand, but when you get to that point, there's quite a few Hot Pockets that are beef Wellingtons. Which, by the way, guys, if you've never had a beef Wellington, they're so good. It's actually one of JFK's like favorite foods, and my mom used to make them for my dad all the time when they first got married. Peyton Wang is saying people went to trial for this. Oh yeah, they did. 100% they did. I love lightly breaded chicken tenders. Yes, but that's the thing. Yes, it's. Oh, I'm sure they'll figure out an excuse to say, well, that's different later. Yes, just take a moment that the highest court in the state of Ohio made a decision about chicken nuggies and chicken tendies. Although, to be fair, those were just the vehicle for the negligence claim and the food safety claim. And hold on one second here, chat. So, cream cheese is just lame whipped cream. That's interesting. That is interesting. Think about it that way. A lot of places warn that they cook with. That's true. That's true. Peanuts would be foreign to chicken unless the chicken eat peanuts. Chicken pate? Oh, yeah. That would be true. Good. It's hard to find good chicken pate. But I will say, guys, if you ever want like good pate, Eastern European MREs have really good pate in them. The Russian ones, their pate is really good. SB Sellers, the jury system's dead in Ohio. Sean is out of work. See, the neat thing is that's for the jury, civil trials. That's why I don't do civil shit. Canadian bacon is just ham, yes. Peyton Wong saying, how much did that case cost? I don't know. I don't know, but there's some attorney who's done all this footwork. Hope like he did this all on, well, a bunch of it on contingency and got fucking goose egged. And then was part of setting new case law, which didn't help him. So, 10K View says, if you had your way, we would have to relabel all foods and have tons of disclaimers. Well, I don't think you'd have to. It's just a boneless wing. I don't assume there's bones in the boneless wings. Like if right now you ordered me some boneless wings from like whatever restaurant you want to go to, I'm not assuming there's chicken parts in them. Yes, KLS right. Like these people walk around like, oh, I'm a Supreme Court justice in Ohio. And then you find out they're talking about fucking chicken wings. Yes. Oh. Chester Fries says, I don't buy this. This is a nuisance lawsuit. Well, that part of it, I think, is yes, this is a bullshit lawsuit. Like, I don't know how you ate that bone. Like, how retarded do you have to be? But I think the principle alone is whether or not you should have reason to suspect that's valid. Yes, I think this Berkemer guy is probably going to drown in the fucking shower one day. So, Grax says, I'm going to go make burgers with bones in them. Oh, my God. Sky Queen says, eat octopus if you're afraid of bones. Yes, calamari is always a good choice. Katie says, Sarah calls it surprise chicken. Luke says, what does it mean that my boneless pizza could actually have bones in it? Yeah. Aaron says, I'm asking 2.0 for beef Wellingtons. You know, I would like to make a beef Wellington. I haven't really, I've seen Gordon Ramsay do it all the time. Like, I could do it. How hard can it be? I'd make sure there's no soggy bottom on the bottom of it. Mavka says, how many rounds sold as a dummy that are live would be acceptable in Ohio? I don't know. Oh. Chester and fries, that's not interesting. It's a cheese, not just whipped cream. Yeah. Oh. Dust Boot says, start feeding all the chickens peanut paste diets. Yes. That I'm a Russia file confirmed. I'm just saying, their pate is really, really good. Iowan Lawman says, that attorney's a goddamn American hero. Well, who is his attorney? Who is the attorney here? I don't know. Who argued this? Oh, I don't know who those guys are. Never heard of them. Never heard of them. So can't use. Doesn't matter. This cast costs more than it should. Avocados are just gay pears. Well, I don't eat avocados, but I like pears. Yes, Zero Skill says, warning, our hamburgers contain zero ham. Chaucerian Frost says, if you found a bone in a boneless wing, would you be shocked and wonder where it came from? Yes, I'd wonder how a boneless, skinless chicken breast had a fucking bone in it. I would. I would be very surprised. Big Chungus says, you do assume there's chicken parts in there. You just assume meat. Look at me. Do you think I take time to figure out, I wonder what's in here? No. No. Kim says, you should support his lawsuit. Not. You don't have time. Yes, warning, our hot dogs do not contain dogs. Brittany says, Jesus, you never boned out massive quantities of chickens. Yeah, I butchered a couple of chickens, but I don't do shitloads of them. But yes, I've done some, but not a ton. No time. Now you sound just like Nick. Oof. Oof. Oh. Yes, I just point to the menu and say yes. 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 Actually, I go to the menu, go like this. Poop. Oh. But yes, I'm sorry to the people out there in this world. Then moving on, we have this one's kind of interesting. And this one, people are allowed to, you are allowed to engage in the world and like these guys do, but this comes with some downsides every once in a while. and it should be expected. And I think the people being shocked at this is very surprising to me. And this is what happened to the pedophile poachers guys. If you guys don't know who they are the guys who do the private pedophile stings. So what happened in the situation? Well, as police arrived on scene, because they call them when they're going to meet these guys, the suspected pedophile ran in his house, locked the door, and then blew his head off. And they all got detained. So they were confronting a pedophile in South Dakota when the police arrived, and he later ran inside and locked his door. A couple minutes later, he would later kill himself. It's like, oh, well, bye. Have a good one. Now, these guys actually do pretty good. They have arrested 46 states with convictions in 40. And they are and yes, it's true. They are single-handedly the most successful group in America when it comes to confronting and getting pedophiles locked up. Too bad they couldn't get Mr. Beast's sidekick locked up. You guys have probably seen their videos where they get the guys who admit to all kinds of stuff, surprisingly. And then at the end, like half the time they get them to tell the police what they did. And like, yeah, here's my phone. And these guys just get like rolled up by the cops. So for 50 minutes, they interviewed the predator. And when the police came, the guy waited until they were speaking to the poachers. And then he ran inside and locked his door. Police tried opening the door, and they went to a side window. When they saw that he had a gun, they decided to break in the house. Well, on the video he has, and this guy, he has the whole video. You can hear the gunshot and then the cops running in the house. So this part here is very interesting, though. Apparently in the video, the cameramen go run around the corner to where the cops were and record it all. Which is interesting because the pedophile could have shot them, and then one of the cops turned his gun. So yeah, you go into a situation, you just killed a guy you're trying to chase, and all of a sudden you see people in the window, whoo, you point your gun at them. Or those guys, let's say he had killed the cops, and now you've got a murderer in the house. Well, you two guys with cameras, I don't want to get caught for murder, so, you die too. Now, what happened? Well, these guys got detained, and this is something I think, once again, guys. So here's what happens. So here they are. Break down how they handle this.
So I'm going to have you guys step out of the vehicle, and then I'm going to just explain if we can. If you want to keep self-recording, that's totally your right. But if like cell phones, anything on your person, I just want them left in the vehicle right now, okay? So I'll step out. I'll have you guys step out as well. So what's happening is I've been contacted by some Division of Criminal Investigation, and right now, you gentlemen are not free to leave. You're being detained right now, and with being detained, there's two of you guys want to meet. Just going to put you in cuffs, just because 3-on-1, fight risk and all that. I just want you guys taken out, okay?
Notice he tells them, you're not free to go, you're being detained. And what do these guys do? I'm going to start talking to the fucking cops. I don't care who you are. Do not talk to the police in that situation, especially when you're out intentionally engaging with violent criminals. Especially when they're detaining you because they have no idea what the fuck just went down. No, do not talk to them.
So I'm going to let DCI, I'm just holding you guys here. They're going to talk to you guys one-on-one, okay? So I'm just going to throw you guys in cuffs right now. Yeah. Yep, so if you just want to come over here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock these so they don't cinch on you at all. Same thing for you. Like I said, I'm just following instruction from DCI agents, okay? All right. You guys we just want to hang out over here. I don't know if you guys want to sit up along the building, prefer to sit, and things like that. Sure can.
Are you under criminal investigation for anything?
So, like I said, DCI. Like I said, I'm just.
So basically, the detectives are on their way there. It's South Dakota, so it's rural. They said detain these guys first so we can talk to them. Fine. Don't fucking talk.
Following their orders because they got to come from Mitchell, so they got a little bit of a drive. All that they strictly requested was that you three gentlemen be detained. Okay. They have further cooperation. Like I said, those law enforcement officers, they're busy helping flight crew, all that stuff, everything there. There's three of you guys, one of me. So as far as being detained right now, that's why I just need you guys in cuffs, okay?
Okay.
So,
are they coming up here right now? Or?
They're on their way from Mitchell. Yep. You know, that's one of the perks of South Dakota is, you know.
So anyway, keep talking to the cops. Iowan lawman says, in my opinion, the poachers aren't likely criminally liable. I agree. They're not likely criminally liable. Here's the deal. How fucking sure are you in that moment you haven't fucked up? How sure are you? Are you willing to bet your freedom on that? Are you willing to bet 10 years of prison you didn't fuck up somewhere? Are you? Are you that sure you haven't screwed up? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. Remember, you're in handcuffs right now. You're not just hanging out, sitting on the back of your tailgate, having a joke and a smoke. You're in handcuffs. That's your warning. That's your warning. You're being detained. You are not free to go. That's a warning. You're now in handcuffs. That's another warning. Necrocatus sneaks up behind you and puts his hands on your shoulders. That's another warning. But you're handcuffed and you're not free to go. That's a big warning. You should be shutting the fuck up. Really. It's a warning. It's a warning sign. God's trying to help you. Chaucerian frauds, is there any questions you're legally obligated to answer to the police? Yeah, if they ask you who you are identity-wise, yes, you have to tell them who you are and give them an identity they can check. By that point, if they've arrested you for a suspicion of a crime, then yeah, you have to answer those questions. Because they can charge you with obstruction for that. Yes, Mike says as sure as a cop in a Denny's. Yes, 100%. 100%. Are you one of the anonymous lawyers that talked to Alex afterwards? No. If I had talked to Alex, I wouldn't be covering this because I'd be keeping my fucking mouth shut. No, I think this is a better fucking way of doing things. I didn't realize he talked to lawyers afterwards, but I'm glad he did. They should have planned for this issue that they get suspected of being the bad guys at some point. Stabby says, I don't think the cuffs were necessary, especially they were cooperative. I don't disagree, but the police thought so. So it's like, you guys think I need to be in cuffs? I guess it's game on. So let's see. All right, so now the last thing, and this one's actually pretty good news out there for people in case they were wondering how this is looking. But Gina Carano's lawsuit. Actually, we got one more to get to. If you guys remember, we covered this before. Nina Jankowicz, she was going to be head of the Department of Homeland Security's disinformation board. And we covered that probably now like 2 years ago. Well, in the meantime, she had sued Fox News because they labeled her as a mean person. And this is her, all of her glory, looking like just a complete fucking psychopath and government cocksucker. but she filed a defamation lawsuit against Fox News. And she said she had to resign as the executive director of the Biden administration's Disinformation Governance Board because of Fox News' statements and the ensuing harassment. She's a government official. It's almost impossible to be defamed to start with. I need to get a copy of the indictment or the dismissal, look at it. But that's one of the things I'm wondering there. So the judge in Delaware ruled on Monday that 36 of the 37 statements cited in her suit referred to the governance board itself and not her. Then they point out that the last statement, that the board was a department dedicated to working with special media giants, the purpose of policing information, wasn't defamatory because the statement was not false. So the judge looked at her and said, "Your last statement is true." So the disinformation experts legal team plans to appeal the ruling from her attorneys. So Fox News finally got a dub after getting her caught clean by the voting machine company of Dominion. So that's good. Nothing more than watching this bitch suffer more and more and more for being a status scumbag. Nothing warms my heart more and more for that. Oh, what? Oh, I thought I clicked it over. Jesus Christ, guys. I even have the other fucking screen up, too. Damn it. So, see, I have the other screen up, and then you guys just go all... So, I have the other screen up, and you don't take advantage of getting my attention. Oh, it's like truly like... You guys are truly like my ex-wife. At times. So, anyways, she lost her lawsuit against Fox News. If you guys remember her, fuck her. She's the one who had all the cringe shit about disinformation out there. So, good riddance to her. Fuck her. All right, where are... All right, and the final thing here, this is, I think, some rather good news. Gina Carano on her lawsuit with Disney has survived summary judgment, at least initially, in the motion to dismiss. Yes, Nick told me the case would be dismissed. I know. It was such a horrible defamation lawsuit. But it has survived, chat. It has survived. So if you guys don't remember, Gina Carano was set to be in the, I don't know, all these other spin-offs of The Mandalorian. I don't know. I never watched The Mandalorian or any of that stuff. Anyway, she has not dismissed the suit. The judge has allowed it to keep going, which means we get to not necessarily a trial, as this is where right here, this is interesting. The move means that the suit will go to trial. No, that's not. I know that's not what Gina Carano wants. Gina Carano wants the discovery. Elon wants the discovery. They want to dig. The other option is a settlement, which is probably what's going to happen. But discovery is going to happen first. There's no way Gina Carano is not going to get discovery. And there's no way Elon, who's funding this, hasn't told her, I want discovery. I want all their dirt. Elon's going to take all their shit, all their emails, everything. He's going to go run it through a supercomputer and figure stuff out so that he can sue them later. I guarantee it. So she has survived. And Carano claims she was terminated because of holding conservative political views. Now, normally people are told you're SOL. The difference is California has special laws that were put in place due to the actions of the House Un-American Activities Committee back in the 40s and 50s, which went after communists. So a law meant to protect communists that was passed by communists is being used by somebody who probably would enjoy throwing communists out of a helicopter. God has a hell of a sense of humor. Oh. So, the judge does bring up something very interesting. She says, unlike the Boy Scouts or the JCs, the defendants are not members only. They're not nonprofit. They're not members only. They're nonprofit organizations. Instead, they are for-profit corporations who, as relevant to this lawsuit, employ people like Gina Carano, and that Disney had not identified any evidence in the complaint or otherwise to substantiate a claim they employ public-facing actors for the purpose of promoting the values of respect, decency, integrity, or inclusion. So that is very funny. That is very, very funny there. Just BTFO'd with that. Amos says, how long till the law gets... Amos has how long... I don't know how long it'll take. Maybe not too long. Who knows? Who knows? But remember, they're going to be careful about changing because remember how it's set up. It's meant to protect the commies. And do they really want to make it open season for their little commie friends? I don't think so. So they're going to have to be very, very careful about that. There is a breakdown of it. I have not gotten to it yet. We might do that tomorrow night or sometime this weekend. But I do think it's worth looking at. And Mindset, I know he probably already touched on a little bit. But yes, I think it's very, very interesting there. Peter is my first name. Says, has Hollywood ever made a movie about communism and the gulags? Maybe one or two. I guess it's a boring story. Yeah, to the commies in Hollywood, that's all boring, and it never happened. It wasn't real communism either, so that's why they don't care about it. Let's see here. Tanky, we said how long to repeal this law? Well, it's going to be, even then, it's the law at the time, so likely still applicable for the suit. So that is actually it for us, guys. We are all caught up. We got to where we needed to be tonight. We got it done in under 2 hours. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Yes, real communism has never been tried. Guys, if you're talking about Mindset covering the lawsuit, yes. The initial complaint, we covered that as well. But I think we also covered a good part of the response. But now we have the judge's ruling, which I think is really good. I don't know if Mindset's covered that yet or not. Disney will fight tooth and nail to avoid discovery. They will not turn over until ordered. Oh, of course. I see that too. Disney's not going to give it up right away, but they're going to have to. Because if Gina's not going to settle, there's only one option. I would like all your stuff where you talk about me from everybody down, which probably includes all the way up to the C-suite. Oh, he did go through it already? Okay, well, I still might. I'm not sure. He was gooning to this the other night. Yeah. This ruling makes all the lawyers on Layback News mad. I don't know why it would, because it's good. It's a good ruling. This is what we want. I want to see Disney suffer. I want to see Disney suffer all kinds of ways. All right, chat. So we are all done for today. We are going to have to catch up on Ashley Benefield tomorrow. We're going to have to catch up on day 3 and get through day 4. Matt says, "Oh, they'll get HR communications too." Yes, they will. They'll get everything from all the way to the bottom to all the way to the top. Walt was an age sympathizer. Yeah, well, Walt Disney was did not like the Jews. Suffolk Disney, zippity doo dah. So, guys, that is it. We're gonna have to work on catching up on that tomorrow. Oh, jeez, I'm not sure how we're gonna figure that out. So we'll work on that, guys. Just keep your eyes peeled. I'll put a notice up of what we're doing tomorrow and how we're gonna try to catch up. We might tomorrow night finish up day 3 and then work on day 4 right after that. I'm not sure what we're gonna do. I got to figure that out. I don't know how to get that caught up yet. I'll come up with something. But in the meantime, guys, oh, I forgot to mention I think we included talking about what happened to Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe Biden dropped out on Sunday, and I don't think that's really. I mean, a lot of people have looked at it. That was earth-shattering. Last time that happened, 1968, and that was a year of happenings. This time around, very, very interesting what happened. I still do believe the idea that there was a meeting of the cabinet with Joe said, if you don't quit now, we're going to force you out. And he quit. So now they're going to go back to him probably in another 2-3 weeks and say, you're done now. I don't see Biden lasting the summer, but we'll see. I think he's out by Labor Day, sadly. You know, it's going to turn into a big mess. It's going to turn into a big fucking mess. Kamala could be the first unelected black woman president. I think she'd take that. I think she would take that. So, yeah, and we don't know what happened. The letter seems faked. I know the whole thing just seems so weird. So, it's going to be very interesting. You know, and we do live in interesting times, and I guess I'm thankful that I'm in them and not other people that I care about. Because I think it's pretty gnarly. Yeah, they're likely waiting until after the convention. I was thinking that, but there's also the idea that she goes into the convention as president, and that would be very interesting. So, who knows? Who knows what they'll do? So, guys, that is it. And, yeah, thank you for all being here. Rumble, Twitch, and Facebook. And I'll just double check here. EDW Raptor said for $10. This sounds like what happened was the production facility that makes the boneless wings had a fuck up and a bone stayed in. When the restaurant sold it, they didn't know about the bone in it. I don't know. The guy who cuts them up into 1-inch chunks didn't find something that was over an inch, like an inch and a half long. I don't see how that works. And then I don't see how the guy who cuts these chunks up cuts them up even smaller and still doesn't have a problem. The whole thing does not make sense. I guess unless he swallowed his tooth. Like, I don't know what he did. I really don't know how he could have done it. I really don't know. KMW's new member. Thank you. Thank you, KMW. And then Chaucerian Fraud for 7 months says, feel bad for the PDF file? Check his hard drives. Yes. You can always check a pedophile's hard drives. Always. Let's see here. So, yeah, we are all set, guys. Maybe the bone was human. Yeah, I mean, that could easily be it as well. All right, guys. So that is it for tomorrow or tonight. Take care, everybody. I will see you over on Locals very shortly. And yeah, remember till next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. And Ashley Benfield is not guilty still. Sarah Boone. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go well for you, Sarah. I'm just saying personally. I just don't think it's gonna end well. So thank you to everybody. Good night, chat, and take care, everybody. Bye.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes. esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick Hayden yelled at? Why, yes it was, he even knows he's fat. For all this fun and more, there's one place to go, here on Sean Martin's Potentially Criminal Show. Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law.